Hey guys, this is my series where I take a picture of a beloved TV or movie character and I turn it into a plush toy. So today we are making Bo Peep. We're going to turn her into a doll. So let's get started. First, I cut out all the pieces I needed. I like to start by cutting out a general outline of the character, and then I move on to the more detailed pieces. Because both of Bo Peep's arms are kind of in different positions, I used an arm cutout from my Benson doll and kind of used it as a guide to make Bo Peep's arms. Once I had everything cut out, I started with the head. And I wasn't really happy with how the head was a little misshapen, so I folded it in half and just used one side as a guide. I also folded a piece of felt in half, then I cut out the head with a seam allowance. And of course I had to make two of them for the front and back. Next, I cut out the white part of her eyes. Because I added a seam allowance, it helps to put the printout of the head on top of your headpiece that you cut out, and then use that as a guide to position your eyes, mouth, nose, whatever facial features you need to apply. So that's what I did in order to put the eyes in the right place. Then I sewed them on. I used a light brown felt for her eyebrows, and these were a little tricky to cut out just because they were so small. But I was able to do it. I cut out her eyelashes and eyeball. And of course, I sewed them on. These were a lot easier to place because I already had the placement of the white part of the eyes. I used my printout again to figure out where to put the mouth, and then I used pink embroidery thread and made her a little smile. And here we are again with the printout, trying to position the eyebrows, and then I sewed them in place. I originally cut out the body and leg pieces in teal fabric, thinking I was going to take this project in a completely different direction. But I ended up going back and cutting everything out in flesh tone instead. I also cut out my arm pieces. After I sewed everything together with the sewing machine, I trimmed the edges, turned the pieces inside out, and stuffed them with some polyfill stuffing. I sewed the tops of the legs, I folded the bottom edge of the body in and then inserted the legs inside and sewed them in place. Next, Next, I attach the arms using a doll needle. A doll needle is just a really long needle used for making dolls. It's really handy for attaching arms because you can put it through all the pieces of the doll and put them in place all at one time. And there we go, we have our doll form. I made pants for the doll using this light teal fleece fabric. I used the doll as a guide to make a pants pattern. I cut them out, sewed them together, and placed them on the doll. Then I made a top. I sewed along the sides and turned it inside out. I added Bo Peep's white cuff and some rickrack to one sleeve. I sewed 2 pieces of rickrack to the front and made a lace-up pattern with embroidery thread in the middle. Then I added a piece of rickrack to the top. I placed the top on the body of the doll. Then it was time to finish the head. I put the 2 pieces together, right sides facing each other, and sewed along the edges. After it was sewn together, I cut the excess fabric around the edges and stuffed it with some polyfill stuffing. Then I folded in the top edges and sewed the top closed. For this doll, I'm using yarn for the hair. I have this yellow yarn that matches Bo Peep's hair quite well, I think. I want her bangs to have those loops in front, so I wrapped the yarn around a piece of cardboard multiple times, and then I removed it and placed it on the doll. Then I just sewed it in place. Next, I attached the back of the doll's head to the neck. I sewed the hair onto the bottom of the head of the doll. To make Bo Peep's hair look fuller, I looped some more yarn around some cardboard, tied it in the middle, and then sewed it on the back of the doll. I sewed on a pink piece of felt for her belt. Then I fashioned a cape for her out of a piece of fleece fabric. And I sewed it in place. I also hot glued on a purple flower jewel for her little clasp. I used the shape of her feet to make little shoe patterns, then I cut them out, sewed them together, and placed them on the doll. I sewed on her purple armband, and I tied some pink ribbon into a bow for her hair. Then I sewed it to the doll. To make Bo Peep's staff, I traced an outline onto a piece of felt, then I cut it out, put hot glue on the back, put it onto the felt again, and then cut out the two pieces as one. And that's it! Now we have a Toy Story 4 Bo Peep doll.